What's up? This is Alex, DJ Couch King, and welcome to another video in my beginner series on Ableton Live 10. In this video, I'm going to show you how to set up a Windows PC so that you can get the most out of your Ableton Live setup. If you've been using Windows for a while, you might have run into some latency issues, CPU issues, or maybe you're just not getting the performance that you want out of it. I'm going to give you some really good tips on how to hopefully get all that sorted out. I would highly recommend going to Ableton's website and looking at the Live 10 minimum system requirements. Now, how you can make sure that your system meets these requirements is by coming down and right-clicking on your start. And then we are going to go ahead and click on the button that says System. And here we can look at our processor. We can look at the amount of RAM that we have and the current version of Windows that we're running. So I am running on an Intel i7 with 64 gigs of RAM, and I'm running Windows 1903, which at the time of recording this is the current version of Windows 10 Pro. Now, if you're running Windows 10 Home, again, don't worry, it'll still work fine. There will just be some minor differences. So once you've verified that your system meets the requirements, we're just going to go ahead and we're going to close out of all the other applications. So in this case, Chrome or Discord or Steam or any other programs you might have running in the background, Excel, Word, etc., etc., etc. Go ahead and just close out of those so that you have a clean, empty desktop. Another thing that you're going to want to do before running your music software is come down to your start bar, and we want to look at the hidden icons here and make sure that we have as few programs running as possible. So now, if we come back to our start menu and we right-click again, we can open up the task manager. And we want to come to startup, and again, disable as many startup apps as you can. Another thing we can do while we're here is look at our processes and see what is eating up CPU and memory here. And if you want to look at more detailed information about what is using your resources, you can organize by what's using the most memory, what's using the most CPU, disk usage, and you also have these performance meters here that show you how fast your CPU is running, how much of each of the individual cores are actually being utilized, and so on and so forth. So definitely familiarize yourself with the task manager. This is going to be something that you will be using a lot to monitor your system if you are using Windows. So once we've got all our background apps closed and we've disabled as many of the startup programs we have to make sure that there's not a whole bunch of stuff running down here, we can go ahead and close out of this. And we are going to go ahead and go to our search and type in control panel. Make sure that your control panel is sorted by large or small icons. That way you just don't have to click through a million different menus to get to the settings that you're looking for. So I just usually leave this on large icons. But we're going to want to go ahead and open up the power options. And this is really going to make the biggest performance gain for you in music production and Ableton Live. Make sure that this is set to high performance, and if you don't see high performance, often that's on laptops and things like that, don't worry, we're just going to go in and we're going to change a bunch of this stuff manually anyway. So once we've got high performance selected, we're going to go ahead and click Plan Settings. We're going to select Never for both Turn Off Display and Put the Computer to Sleep. You don't want Windows putting things to sleep when you're working on audio. That just causes crashes and all kinds of weird stuff to happen. So make sure both of those are set to Never. Then go ahead and click on Advanced Power Settings. Once we are in Advanced Power Settings, we're going to change a few things in here, again, to make sure that Windows isn't shutting things off that we're trying to use for music production. The first thing that we want to look at is under hard disk, where it says turn hard disk off. We can go ahead and click in here and just type never, and then just click out of there and make sure that says never, and then we're going to say apply. Next thing we're going to want to look at is our USB setting, and we want to make sure that this is disabled. So if that says enabled, make sure you click disabled. And if you're using any kind of keyboards or audio interfaces or things like that, this can screw all sorts of things up if it's shutting off your USB because it thinks it's not in use. The next thing we want to do is go ahead and go into processor power management, and we want to make sure that our minimum processor state and our maximum processor state are both set to 100%. That way your computer can use all of the CPU all the time. And then we're going to go ahead and hit apply and OK. While we're in the control panel, let's go ahead and go into our sound settings. And in sound settings, we're going to go ahead and click on the tab that says sounds, and we're going to make sure that the system sounds is set to no sounds. So once we've got that set to no sounds, let's come back over to playback, and we're going to go in and we're going to find our audio device or our audio interface. We're going to go ahead and right click on properties, and we are going to come over to advanced and make sure that exclusive mode is not checked. It'll typically be checked by default. We want to make sure that that's unchecked. Hit apply, then hit OK. So that's pretty much everything that we need to do in our preferences. So let's go ahead and close out of this stuff and open up Ableton Live. Inside Ableton Live, we're going to want to click on Options and then click on Preferences. And once we have our Preferences window open, we're going to want to go to the Audio tab. Under driver type, you're going to want to make sure that this is set to ASIO. Now, if you don't see this option, that you are probably using the headphones or the built-in audio interface. If that's the case, stick around till the end of the video and I will show you a way that you can have this show up if you're using the built-in sound card. But I highly recommend getting an audio interface that has its own ASIO drivers. This is going to give you the best performance and the best latency. So we'll go ahead and select ASIO, and then from the ASIO, make sure that you have your audio interface selected. And you can always take a look at your input and output configuration and make sure that you've got all the inputs and outputs selected that you will be using. Next, let's talk about sampling rate. Let's make sure that this is set to 44,100. Now you'll notice that buffer size and input and output latency, there aren't really many controls here other than the driver error compensation, and unless you know what you're doing, I wouldn't really mess with this. For the most part, you can probably leave that at 0 and everything should work just fine. But you'll notice that we have a hardware setup button here, and this is going to take you to the control panel for your specific audio interface. So if I click on this, this opens up the settings for my interface, which in this case is an RME Fireface. Now, again, this might look a little bit different than yours, but don't worry, a lot of the settings are going to be similar or the same. The big thing that we want to worry about here is right here where it says buffer size or latency. So basically what this does is tells the computer how long it has to process the audio that you are working with. So whether you're recording or you're producing or you're mixing or mastering or whatever, this is how long the computer has to basically calculate everything that you want it to do. Now, the lower this number is, the more responsive all of your instruments and keyboards and so on and so forth will be. However, your CPU is going to have to work much harder because it has to process those things a lot faster. So typically I start around 256 samples, and you can see over here that that gives me about 14 milliseconds of overall latency, which is totally manageable. If I wanted to, I could take this down to 128 or even lower if my keyboard or something like that doesn't feel very playable, or there's a long delay between when I hit a key or a drum pad or something like that. You can always lower this number, but just keep an eye on your CPU meter, because the lower this is, the harder your computer has to work. So I'm going to leave this on 256 samples. In most cases, that works pretty well for me. As you're mixing and things like that, you might want to increase this once you're not playing instruments live. So I'm just going to go ahead and hit OK, and then that window goes away. Now, if you do not have an audio interface, which I highly recommend that you get one, especially one of decent quality, like a Focusrite or something like that, ASIO for All is an open source option that you can use to make your onboard sound card use ASIO. So if you come to asioforall.org and then go ahead and download and install this, then you will have the ASIO option in your Ableton preferences. But the way this works is it is a middleman between Windows and your sound card, and it does its best to make sure everything that is very fast and responsive, but it's not very user-friendly, so this is kind of a last resort in my book. Now, one last thing that I want to talk about, if you've gone through all these settings and you're still having issues, we're going to go ahead and Google latency mon. We'll go ahead and click on the Resplendence link here, and then go ahead and download the latest version of latency mon. And once this is open, you can click this start button and let this run for a while. And basically what this is going to do is test to make sure that your system is stable and okay for running real-time audio. And once it's done, you can look at the statistics and you can look at all the processes and exactly what was adding latency. Now, I would not recommend this for the average user, but if you're having problems, then this is a really good place to start for trying to figure out what is causing the issues. You can look at drivers, you can look at CPUs, there's a ton of information. Now this is again very advanced, but if you've gone through all the settings that I described before and you're still experiencing issues, this is probably a good place to start. And with some Google Foo and a little bit of research, you will be able to troubleshoot most issues with a Windows system. There are a lot of misconceptions about Windows and PCs in general when it comes to music production. A lot of people will tell you that if you're serious about music production, you need to get a Mac, and it's just simply not true. So hopefully the tips that I gave you today can help you get your PC dialed in and running just as good as any Mac out on the market. Thanks for checking this video out. If you liked it and you learned something from it, make sure to hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and ring that notification bell so you can get all my Ableton videos right as they're coming out. Peace.